Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Postal Code Unknown podcast for Monday, June 26th of 2017. Trying something a little bit new today, doing my best here because this is being posted as both a video podcast and an audio podcast. I'm going to try to start describing the things that I show a little bit more. Again, it's the first day of this, so I don't know how well that's going to work, so it might look a little bit silly if I'm describing something in sort of like more verbal words when you can clearly see it on screen, but bear with me. And if you like what I'm doing here, if it bothers you, or if you appreciate that more descriptions, please let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to take your feedback into consideration. Without further ado, I've got another hat for you guys today. So it's actually kind of something that I've been using today. I just went out for a walk. I'm trying to get a little bit more exercise during the day before I get these videos started. So I like hats for a number of different reasons. I tend to really like wide-brimmed hats, and at first, when I first got one, I think when I was a kid, I thought it was a little bit silly. A lot of my friends at the time used to call me Cowboy Matt, which I thought was kind of funny because it wasn't really a cowboy hat, but I really liked the way that they sort of like helped keep the sun off of me when I was out walking around or etc. So when I went to Australia, clearly, like many tourists or visitors to Australia, they really want to sort of get something that signifies to them what Australia means. And there's the iconic Australian hat that you'll see a lot of people. So I've got one of those. Let me bring this up here. Sort of like a dark brown kangaroo leather jackaroo hat. So it's not super warm, but you can see it's a little wrinkled in places, and I'll tell you why that is the case in a little bit. You can see sort of like a little buckle there, and it took me forever to find this hat. So I think like the first one that I found maybe was a week or two into my trip there, and you'd see them at pretty much every outdoors store or tourist information shop or any visitors shop or pretty much all over the place. You'd find a different manufacturer or two selling these kinds of hats with good reason. They're actually really good hats. They're extremely useful, especially with how hot the sun is in Australia. It was really valuable at the time. Again, it didn't keep me from getting sunburned all the time, but I think I got sunburned a lot less than I would have if I didn't have this hat. So really glad that I eventually ended up finding this. I probably tried on 15 or 20 of these as we were going around. Before finally finding this, where was it? In the Blue Mountains. So a really extraordinary place in the Blue Mountains called, boy, I can't even remember the name. So I will bring that back at some other point in time. The Sky Rail no, wait a minute. Scenic World. So pardon me for that. So Scenic World in the Blue Mountains had a gift shop there where I found this hat. And just to sort of give you guys an idea, I'll talk about the Blue Mountains a little bit more at another point in time, but I spent about 3 days in the Blue Mountains sort of hiking around, driving around. It's a huge, massive place that has a very cool sort of blue haze that sort of gives its name. So it's also one of the most unique natural environments in the world as well, just because of how isolated it's been. And it's just outside of Sydney. It's such a cool place to go visit. And Scenic World itself was really cool, not only because, it's the second sort of place that I've done sort of like a cable car sort of thing. And by cable car, I don't mean like the San Francisco trolley type of cable car, but rather a carriage that's attached to a cable that either goes down or directly across. And in this case, there were a couple. There's one that sort of goes down into the valley, and then another one that goes across a canyon sort of thing, and then a third one that's a train that has a very steep downhill and uphill, and that one's actually a lot of fun. So there's also a really good walk over by the Three Sisters, which is a rock formation in the Blue Mountains that has a giant stairway going down with these huge, massive steps that I would have absolutely died if I had been trying to go up, so I'm glad I was going down because you get this crazy sense of vertigo even just doing that. So the Blue Mountains, again, I've spoken about it a few different places in Australia thus far, but was special for a number of reasons, and those few that I've just mentioned were just part of it. But especially if you're making a trip out to Sydney, and you've got an extra day or two, there are some great things to do in the city. I loved Sydney, but with the Blue Mountains being just an hour or so away, it's really something you shouldn't miss. It's spectacular. So back to the hat. So again, sort of like it's this brown hat. It's got sort of patches, and pardon me, I don't know if you can really see it very well. It's kind of gross. It's got sort of sweat stains that sort of change the color over time as it sort of changes it, and really sort of gives it a unique look to it. It sort of makes it my hat, I guess. But it's something that I think is kind of cool. Like, I suppose it's the sort of same thing that you'd see where people would get sort of stained jeans or something like that, where it's got its own character. So I love this hat, so I'll put it on here just to sort of show you guys what it looks like. And I'll let you be the judge. I think it really sort of like, I like this kind of hat quite a bit. It's something that I use when I'm walking out or working outside. Even if it is a very touristy kind of thing to do, I don't think that should stop you from getting something like this if you like. And also the kangaroo leather is kind of cool. So with that said, one of my favorite parts about this hat, sometimes it's hard for me to sort of like find ways to travel with stuff like this. So hats don't fit in bags very well. They're kind of unwieldy. You'll have a cap that's sort of got like a hard brim. It really sort of fits weird. Now, it doesn't mean that this is perfect, but one of the coolest parts about this hat is you'll notice I just sort of folded it in half. And you fold it in half again. And you can place this in a bag. It doesn't take barely any space, and it holds its shape. This actually sat like this for I think at least a week as I was packing to move back from Australia, just because I didn't want to get it damaged. And it just comes right back out. It's a little wrinkled at first, which you'll sort of see there as well. But they're great. I think they're amazing. So hope you enjoyed today's episode. Again, I'd love to hear your feedback. If the description helped in the audio version, if the description wasn't enough, if you've got any more suggestions about how you'd like this podcast to proceed, I'd love to hear from you. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more of what I've been doing outside of these videos, you can see more at theradicaldreamer.com, where I've got articles and photographs with travel advice and stories that aren't just in a video format. You can follow me on Twitter at OneRadicalDreamer or on Instagram at ARadicalDreamer if that's something that you're more interested in. If you're interested in supporting me, I do have a Patreon page up as well, which you can find at patreon.com/theradicaldreamer. And that's a way for as little as $1 a month, you can help support me get better equipment and do more videos of this type and make a whole bunch more cool stuff to share with you in the future. And last but not least, if you like what you've been seeing on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and send a couple comments. I'd be happy to answer more questions in future episodes of the podcast. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Take care. Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more of what I've been doing outside of these videos, you can see more at theradicaldreamer.com, where I've got articles and photographs with travel advice and stories that aren't just in a video format. You can follow me on Twitter at OneRadicalDreamer or on Instagram at ARadicalDreamer if that's something that you're more interested in. If you're interested in supporting me, I do have a Patreon page up as well, which you can find at patreon.com/theradicaldreamer. And that's a way for as little as $1 a month, you can help support me get better equipment and do more videos of this type and make a whole bunch more cool stuff to share with you in the future. And last but not least, if you like what you've been seeing on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and send a couple comments. I'd be happy to answer more questions in future episodes of the podcast. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Take care.